You lost that love and feeling. Oh, that love and feeling. You lost that love and feeling. Now it's gone, gone.
Whoa. You stole my song.
I know. That was Jim's song.
You never close your eyes when we kiss anymore. I can't remember the lyrics. Top Gun.
Jim had a construction version of that song.
Oh, did he?
Didn't make me think about Top Gun, but your version made me think about Top Gun. All right, Jim. So we got an interesting show today.
Yeah, we do, man. Yeah,
we want to talk about reynoldsforheroes.org.
.org.
Your charity, what you've been involved with, and how long now has it been?
10 years.
10 years. And it's totally legit, right?
It's totally legit.
Just want to get that out there. So people understand that it's a legit charity, has a really amazing cause.
It's not paying for your motorcycle?
No.
And we've got two very special guests. So right beside me, I've got Mike. And Mike, you're from Helmets to Hard Hats?
No, I'm with the Carpenters Union, Local 27 out of Toronto, representing the veterans that are transitioning through Helmets to Hard Hats.
Cool. And then next to you, you got Dean.
Yeah, hi. I'm a veteran as well, and I have a safety company. So I've taken what I've learned from the military and moved it over to safety.
Very nice.
So just so you know, both these guys sit on the Renos for Heroes board.
Nice.
All right. Of course, they just said they're both veterans.
And when were you guys in the military? How far back? I know we're talking off mic before the show started. A little while.
I myself have been out of the service for 25 years now and been a member of the Carpenters Unions since I got out in 95.
And I got out in 98. It's hard to believe. It's like 21, 22 years ago now. Seems like yesterday, you know.
And Dean and I both served together in the same battalion in Germany.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Huh?
Yeah.
But he never went to the concert.
Which concert?
The wall.
Oh, the wall. Yeah, the wall was great in Germany.
Some off mic stories that were happening there. Okay, cool.
But you guys served in Bosnia.
Yes.
Together.
Yeah.
With the UN.
With the UN, yes.
You were a paratrooper?
Well, yeah, I was with the Airborne Regiment.
Airborne.
I spent some years there, but in Bosnia, I was with Pioneer Platoon.
So what's that mean? Like this
new.
Yeah.
Fixing bridges, finding landmines, clearing.
Like an engineer.
Minor engineering tasks. That's
That's what my old man did when he was in the Army.
Yeah.
When did you go into the service?
I was 17.
Wow.
I joined 17, retired at...
how young are you? Am I the young? I'm the youngest guy at the table here? Is that what's going on? That's not usually the case.
You're doing the math here, aren't you? Retired for 20 some odd years. Yeah.
Were you one of those rebellious kids that you...
Yeah.
It was the only place that was going to tame you down?
Nobody else is going to take me. When the judge says, well... You can go to jail, son. You're old enough for jail.
You had that story too?
Yeah.
I had the same story. Yeah. It was military or go to jail.
Yeah.
Good choice, huh?
Yeah, it was a good choice.
That's our way of doing a draft.
Let's pick the people that are going to jail and put them in the military.
We don't want to get in trouble.
Edit that out.
And so, Jim, how did you get started with it? How did you come up with getting that Reynolds for Heroes started?
So 11 years ago, doing a trip, going across the country, driving around by myself, a buddy of mine called, another contractor, and he was just, basically just needed a little shoulder to cry on. He said, my son-in-law just got back from Afghanistan. He says, he came home and they have a little baby. He really doesn't know how to deal with his wife now, doesn't know how to deal with his kid. And he says, then he got asked to go to Ottawa and they gave him a medal. And I said, well, how does the medal help what he just came home with? And he goes, well, it doesn't. That's the thing. So anyways, I just, hung up and I started thinking more and more about it. I go, you know what, we're hearing about, the ones that have sacrificed everything and have been, sacrificed their life, basically. I said, well, war is war. There has to be wounded. Came home, spoke to my brother, who's he was in the militia, I guess, wasn't he? Yeah,
The reserve unit.
He was in the reserve. and he's a big history buff, and knows a ton about the military. So I said, look, dude, we got to do something. And so we just did some more investigation, found out that there was, at the time, I think, about 50 to 60 soldiers that had lost limbs. And that's where we kind of wanted to focus because of what we do. Reached out to the military and asked, who do you need help with? I made it very clear to the military at the time. I said, don't ask us for the money. I'm not going to give you the money. You just give us the soldier and we'll do the work. And that's the way that's how we basically do it now. And we don't get told, how to spend the money. So we have, I don't know, we've probably done 25, 30, soldiers already. And,
wow.
And most of them, probably wouldn't even say most of them now. I'd say probably half of them have lost limbs. But we're really starting to find out now too, more and more with the PTSD that, just doing some small little things for them in the house or even out in their backyard, give them somewhere to go just to, have their own little Zen garden or something, right?
Yeah.
It helps them a ton. We've been doing this 10 years and, the hardest thing with this is getting them to come forward.
They don't want the help, they don't want to ask.
It's
They
pride.
don't want to ask.
They don't want to
They don't wanna
ask. They're
ask.
very proud, and that's been the problem from day one. It's almost we have to find out about them through someone else. But we do have someone that we have to go through in the military because there are some, sad to say, that will try to take advantage of what we do and what other charities and foundations will do for them. Ones that already have enough, they'll even try to come and get more when the one that really needs the help. So they are vetted, right? Is that,
Yeah, I was
that's
gonna say.
Yeah, we vet them, and we've seen cases where the ones that need the help the most deny it and say, no, go help this guy first.
Yeah.
Most of the time, that's what will happen. The veterans will say, help my brother out first. I'm okay.
That's a veteran thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too far, but so basically, www.reynoldsforheroes.org.
Yep.
Is the website. On Instagram, it's Reynolds for Heroes.
Yep.
And then with you guys, Dean, you've got www.fast-rescue.com.
Yeah.
And so that you can help out people with health and safety on the job site, construction sites.
Exactly.
And then with Mike, you're associated with the Carpenters Union, but you're also associated with www.helmets2, which is tohardhats.ca.
Correct.
Cool. We usually start the show with a little bit of history, but you guys probably know more than me. But I wanted to ask you guys, how many countries recognize Remembrance Day? Because we are, recording this, so to speak, on Remembrance Day, and we want to share this on November 11th.
Did you do the research on
I
this?
did the research. That's why.
So this is the question.
It's a fixed question.
He always comes out with these questions.
But I was actually surprised. I thought I didn't think it was this many, but it's 54.
Really?
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Yeah, there's in the Commonwealth.
I was going to say the Commonwealth countries.
That's basically where it all started. And of course, America recognizes it, but they changed it in 1954. They changed it to Veterans Day.
Veterans Day.
Yeah,
All right.
that's right.
Right? But it all began 1919, right after November 11th, 1919. And 11 a.m. was when it began, but that's when it was officially signed. It actually was signed at 5 a.m. And it was 6 hours later that it became official, and that's why the 11th of the hour, right? And so and I thought that was really interesting. And everyone treats it. Everybody as part of the 54 treats it as a minute of silence.
Yep.
They do that, and a lot of it is attached to the whole unknown soldier. And each of the Commonwealth countries recognize that unknown soldier, and there are those graves that are recognized as the unknown soldier, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah, I mean. Were you at Vimy, weren't you?
Yes, I went to Vimy.
You went to Vimy.
For the 100th year celebration. Yeah.
Right. And then I went the year after, I think. I took my brother for his birthday.
How is that?
So
I want to do that one day.
I'm getting shivers right now just thinking of it.
right. And I never served, so I can't even think what they think. But my dad served and my uncle served. My uncle's still alive now. He's at Sunnybrook Veterans. He's 98.
Wow.
Fantastic.
He landed on Juno Beach.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So when my brother and I went to Juno Beach and we did the whole thing, we had a what do you call a guide, a history guy from England, and we had him for 5 days, and we went to a different site every day from France to Brussels and all over the place. The craziest thing, we went to, not Dunkirk, what's the other one where they landed at? One of the battles that did not go well.
My history in World War II is not that great, so
Oh, that really bugs me. I forget now. Anyway, my brother's mother-in-law's first husband they were married 3 months and lost his life there. And I will come up with the name. Anyway, we're in the cemetery. It's all Canadian cemetery. And my brother goes, "This is the guy's name. Let me go see if I can find it." It's 2 rows in from the gate, and there he was.
Oh, wow.
23 years old. Married. They were married for 3 months and never came back.
Wow.
It's crazy. Crazy. But the Canadian, like the cemeteries over there are so well kept. Like it's beautiful. It's it's an amazing, beautiful site. And Canada is like, you rock.
We're hailed, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I was in Holland, actually. They flew over some vets. There's probably 5 plane loads of vets they flew over. And this time I was playing in the pipes and drums. I was the lead drummer. And we're in a place called Arnhem where they had the bridge too far. They reenacted the crossing of the bridge. The engineers built the bridge and they got the tanks across, which they were able to fight off the Germans and liberate Holland. You want to talk about emotion? My God. I mean, both sides of the street were like 8 people deep for as far as your eyes can see. And they were just screaming as we were marching and getting these vets across this bridge. It's
crazy.
It was just such a...
Proudly showing the red and white, huh?
Exactly.
Wow. Canada's very well recognized.
and respected for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure, for those events, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and then when we went to where Vimy is and looking at all the trenches and the miles and miles of trenches, and and still they don't. There's fences up saying don't walk out. There's still undetonated bombs and stuff, right? But just to see, and it's all green grass and everything else, and it looks like this, but if you picture what they actually lived in, like it was just mud, rats, this, like, and this is the way they lived for weeks, months on end. Like it was just, like to go through it, they went through is like, you have to go. Like I will take my grandchildren there and just to say, hey, just so you know this is what Remembrance Day is all about. This is it's decades and decades and decades and decades that you just don't want our kids and the future kids to forget what that generation actually did. Some will say it was the greatest generation that ever.
The sacrifices.
That was the sacrifices that were made too. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and you can see these guys are pretty quiet about when you talk about it, right?
Well, hey man, these are the people that really did pave the way for us and gave us these liberties that we have today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They actually this year, because of COVID, and we're not able to get together for Remembrance Day the way we normally do. I'm taking it upon myself to bring my daughter to a place, Shanty Bay, which is just outside of Barrie. They have a black grave site with World War II veterans. There's probably about 60,
I didn't know
70
this.
names. Yeah,
Really?
so a friend of mine sent me a a picture of it about a year ago, and the other day I'm going through. I said, "Hey, Shanty Bay," because he said, your family's name is on this this site, and these are veterans that have blacks that have fought for Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
I was just in Shanty Bay last week.
Yeah.
Wow.
The two of us are going to go there. I'm sure there's not
Nice,
going to be a lot of people, and that's where we're going to spend this Remembrance Day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, why did you gentlemen actually join? What was the real reason why you joined? I know we joked about it.
No.
I don't think there was any incarceration option on the table.
No, they're actually.
Is it in the family? Is it in the tree?
He's saying it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Dean's actually giving me some signaling here.
No. It's all good. It's all good, Manny. He thought you thought I was joking. No,
I thought you were. I'm sorry.
Ultimatum,
Okay.
sir.
So there's a 50-50 here then.
No, I was.
Oh, wow.
I had to bust my butt to go back to school and get my education. So it was like at 17, I was in the Army, and you learn so much.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
it's
it was
discipline, right?
Oh yeah, because I had a little hair under my nose, and I knew everything. As a teenager, my God, very hard head, as they call it.
We all, I think every generation at that age is always that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really a situation of, you're going to be on the street, you're going to find yourself dead in the jail or in the Army, sir.
Wow.
That's good to know.
Wow.
Our family has a bit of history. My grandfather served in World War II with the artillery. Pretty much had chased Rommel right through northern Africa and into Italy. And we had actually immigrated from Italy in the early 1900s, right after, I think, the World War I, and immigrated to England. And my grandfather actually changed the last name from Manfredi to Humphreys. His father did. And then he served in World War II in Africa in the artillery, and I was always just fascinated with some of this. He didn't really get into great details of the stories and stuff like that, but just that whole, and growing up watching, war movies and stuff like that.
But it must be difficult to share these stories because I can't compare what you guys have seen or what others have experienced, and definitely from that generation, from World War I or II. I can't compare anything of that in my own life, right? So it must be very difficult to share those stories of what you guys experienced, what you guys seen, and I guess it's I'm trying to figure out, is it refreshing to offload that, like to kind of share it with somebody else, or is it that the brotherly connection to give it to somebody else and speak about it?
Well, for me, it took quite a few years to be able to even open it up.
Really?
I had to get some help. I know one day my psychologist said, or a friend said, you've been seeing somebody, obviously, because I was able to unload a little bit more and open up a lot more. But it took me over 25 years before I would say anything about anything that I experienced or my feelings or anything else. It was, you're kind of told to suck it up and, hold it in and be a man, that sort of thing. So.
Anybody else go into? Did you guys? I don't know the situation with kids or anything like that. Did you guys influence anybody to go into the service as well?
I would.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, I would. It's
Okay.
probably one of the best things to learn. You learn so much in the military.
It shaped you guys to the people that you are today.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think I'd be where I am today if I wasn't there.
You're not alone. You got teamwork. You find your brotherhood and sisterhood that. A bond it's unbreakable.
Yeah. Like Dean and I hadn't been in touch with each other for quite a few years, and just out of a fluke coincidence, we reconnected again. It was like yesterday, like we hadn't been apart, kind of thing, right? It was years.
No time.
Time is, and same with the other guys that we keep meeting up with over the years. It's just instant. Right, it's completely different than any other person that you may have. I have childhood friends that I'm still in touch with. It's different. I have a good connection with them as well. My people that I served with in the military, it's different, 100%.
You found something? There it is. Jim's found.
It's Dieppe.
The mark. Wow. Oh, Dieppe. Eh? Wow.
Yeah. And then when we got to the beaches of Dieppe, no wonder it was like a slaughter. It was a wipeout. you walk down onto the beach, and it's not sand. It's these like
Pebbles.
almost like teeny little pea gravel.
Like river gravel?
Small. So you step on it and you sink
Like
into
quicksand.
it. So, when these guys jumped out, it was like they were in full running, but going
Nowhere.
right?
Going
And
up sand hill.
then when the tanks and vehicles came up, they just got buried there. They couldn't even move. So it was like a complete disaster.
It's quite surreal to see the images of today of those locations and what it was like back in the day, and how you can't imagine what happened there. It doesn't look like that happened there.
No, it's
I mean, it looks beautiful now, but the thing is, it wasn't at that point, right?
right.
And then just what they went through as a result of that.
Like here, there's today,
Yeah,
and that's what it was.
I know.
Right?
Different times.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
So with the Renos for Heroes, the guys and the girls, they come back and they need help, and you guys got to vet them. You got to make sure everything's fine, then try to figure out what help they do need.
Yeah, I mean, and usually when I first started this, I thought I had these big grandeur ideas that we're going to go build a great house for these guys and everything else. And then I finally realized that it's not what it is. One guy might just need a deck. He just might need a ramp. He just might need a patio door cut where he lives now and out onto a deck with a ramp so he can get out. And that's it. That's all they want. And when you give that to them, you see the joy and it's like giving them a brand new house. But that's all they needed. Correct me if I'm wrong, because sometimes I get this wrong, but our military or our government, when you're injured, you only get so much money.
Yeah.
And that might only do half of what you need. We started this to bridge the gap. The examples I usually give, let's just say a guy has lost both his legs, a woman has lost both his legs. He comes home, he's got to get upstairs. So the government will redo his bathroom on the main floor, but that's all the money they have for it. So how does he, when he crawls up the stairs every night, because his prosthetics don't work that great, and he gets into bed and then he has to go to the washroom in the middle of the night. Well, the washroom upstairs isn't set up for him. What do you do? I mean, this is what I mean by bridging the gap. So we'll come in and take care of that for him, or do whatever it takes to make his life as close to being normal again as you can possibly do.
Are you gentlemen getting involved with the government and trying to get more assistance from them, or is that just an uphill battle that is not going to happen?
I'll let you guys answer that one. Because
It's pretty uphill.
It's pretty uphill.
Yeah. There's
my mentality is that you have service people that went out and gave up for the country and for us, and they return. We should be given everything we possibly can to help this individual. That's just my simple mentality on this.
So my take on that is they go away and serve us. When they come back in their time of need,
We serve.
we serve them.
Yeah,
Period.
that's how it should
Shouldn't be a question. If we can do it for everything else and everyone else, we can do it for our own people that have come back and that have...
But like you said earlier, Jim, there are some people, and it's human nature to take advantage.
Yes.
And that's why we have to have all these checks and places in place. And it takes a long time to get through the system itself, VAC or all this stuff, because it is an insurance policy claim that you're kind of doing. It's an insurance, it's based on the insurance. And they know when you sign up, and we sign our insurance policy, right? The system that we did when we were, I don't know if it's changed since we were in, there's a number on everything, just like an insurance policy. And they know you're going to go off to overseas and possibly lose a limb or come back not quite the same. they have to deal with them, and they have to have all these checks and balances. And there are people that will take advantage of that, and I've seen a few. I've seen not anyone that I've served with, but I know of.
We've had it happen.
Even through
they've come to you guys, and then they were discovered.
Yeah. In trying to
once we vetted it out,
because I mean, I'm speaking
to you. Wanted to build his house to rent out.
Right.
That was one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, that's a little.
That was for profit. I mean, we always the basic thing that Jim and I mean, when I came on board, Jim said it's the need, not the want. We all want our kitchen renovated. We all want our house repainted. We all want a nice car.
For sure.
But it's got to go down to the basics of what you need. Okay. Now the government does take care of the majority of veterans, and some of them do slip through the cracks because they don't know how to go through the system. And the system is there in place to help them, but it's difficult to navigate, and you need somebody to guide them to go through.
Yeah.
And now and when you first started 11 years ago, we didn't have as many other veteran groups kicking around. There's a lot of other people out there that are helping them to navigate through the VAC system, right? So you got to fill this line out this way, and it is an insurance claim. Like I said, if you miss a line, it gets delayed, and you got to send it back. So, and it's up to you, the individual, to sort that out, not anybody else.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're not capable of going through that paperwork and you get frustrated with it, it makes it that much more difficult. 100%. Right.
Yeah.
So.
And then I mean, look at it. Somebody comes back and they're already suffering from PTSD. How are they supposed to do that?
They can't.
It's difficult. Yeah.
They can't. It's too emotional. They don't have the patience to do it. It's too frustrating for them.
How do you get, I'm speaking to you gentlemen, and I'm thinking, I want to volunteer. I want to help out, and where can I go to kind of sign myself up so I can volunteer my time to be a part of it?
Go to the website. A lot of people do, and when they hear about it, everybody would like to jump in. But you can go on the website, sign up, and say I'm interested in helping, and then we'd call when the time comes. I mean, Mike works for the Carpenters Union, so we have a lot of carpenters. Like, they have been a huge stronghold for us, and drywallers, the laborers union, everybody. When I say I have, Renos for Heroes has a huge
crew. A huge
crew who we can call on anytime.
Okay.
And they come. Like, they'll go to
anywhere
Ottawa.
Across Canada.
Yeah. Guys from Toronto,
Canada.
they'll all pack up. Hey guys, we got a 1,400 square foot deck we got to get done. Sure. 5 or 6 will go up. Then there'll be another crew in the next few days. Just want to help. There's no money exchanged with these guys. This is just, hey,
everybody just wants
to
help.
We're doing. Let's just help. Let's just get this done.
Yeah. www.reynoldsforheroes.org, and IG, it's Reynolds for Heroes. And then we're talking with Dean at fast-rescue.com. And then we're going to get into where you guys got into after the service. And then Mike is helmets to hard hats from the carpentersunion.ca, right? So you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Wait a second. You keep saying that. Mike's with Renos for Heroes. He's helping.
Is he?
Helmets. Yes.
Okay, so wait. So Mike, you got a lot of hats here.
He does, yeah.
That's right. So you've got Reynolds for Heroes, you got the Carpenters Union, you got hard hats to helmets, or helmets to hard hats. What else you got going on?
Oh, I've had to back off a few other things too because
I mean, what's great about what we do? We've joined up forces with other foundations and charities to help do things too, right? Like, it's a great little community, and that's one of the things that we actually want to do more of, is start to get all these other little foundations and charities together, because I think together we're even that much more of a force, right?
That's how you move
100%.
mountains, right?
A team.
Yeah.
It's all teamwork.
Yeah.
Okay, so gentlemen, after the service, how did you guys get into construction?
Myself? Well, again, my grandfather.
Jail.
No, that
We're going back to jail.
You got to join the trades or go to jail.
Oh, that's why there's a lot of tradespeople. Okay, yeah. I get it.
We were all going to jail at one time.
Well, it's kind of unique because in our family, my family, when my grandfather finished his service, he became a bricklayer. So he was always in construction. My father was in the reserves in England as well. They called it the territorial units in England, and he was a carpenter by trade. And in the 60s and stuff, he couldn't get much work, so he immigrated back over to Canada here and took up his trade here in Canada. Once I got out, I guess it was just a natural thing to get into the trade as well. I actually wanted to be a police officer once I finished the service, but unfortunately that wasn't going to happen. So I moved into, and I won't get into the details of why that wasn't going to happen.
That's for another show.
That's for another show. But anyways, and it wasn't because of going to jail.
No.
But anyways, I talked to a friend of mine who I was in the Air Cadets before I joined, and he said the Carpenters Union is looking for guys to join. And this was in the mid 80s, so the economy was just starting to pick up again.
Start to grow back up, yeah.
So it was a perfect time, and my first job was with PCL Constructors. I did my entire apprenticeship with PCL, and then
how was that experience?
It was great.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal. And actually, for the first 10 years, I didn't even let anybody know I was an ex-military person. I just went to work. I just had to go to work. I had a lot of things going on, family-wise. My mom and dad had a bad breakup. It's life. So I got out of the military, helped my mom for a couple years, and then she unfortunately passed away. Like I said, I just put my head and nose to the grindstone and just went to work and didn't think about anything else. I kept in touch with some really close friends from the military, but that was it. I didn't talk about it. I just carried on with my life.
How were the trades then? Because we're talking 90s?
Yeah, late 90s and into 2000, yeah.
So how were the trades then when you were working with them?
It was good.
They were good?
I had a good time. I had a good group of people around me and helped. And the organization has been great ever since. I've never had any issues. So
there was a lot of high-rise work.
No, I was mostly ICI, industrial, commercial, and institute stuff. I did a lot of. I worked on I actually worked on the Air Canada Centre when it was first being built with PCL.
Wow!
For a little while, then I got transferred off to other special projects. Eventually,
I remember seeing that sign up there for the longest time until it finally changed to the AC sign, right?
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I brought my brothers down there when they had an opening house day for all the people that worked on the building, and we got to walk around and go through the dressing rooms for everybody before it opened because. We're huge Toronto fans, so...
One of the few buildings in the city that I still like because they kept part of the original post office facade there.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's great, instead of taking a wrecking ball to it and put something up and new, right?
So my job when I was working there was to protect that facade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we had to very carefully get the zoom boom up there.
How many feet did you have between the gardener and that? Like, not a lot.
We had the zoom boom, right? So that can go and move around in different places, and we had a really high one to go up and down. So we had to drill little tiny holes into the mortar so that we can nail the plywood on, because that's where the buckets of concrete were being lifted up over that wall to go in to pour stuff. They didn't want to damage the facade. And they actually had a family member from the original guy that did the stonework on that to come back and finish all those little points that we kind of...
Pointing.
All the pointing that he did.
What are we, limestone?
Yeah.
Original limestone.
It's beautiful looking at that limestone up there.
Yeah.
And I did that in January.
It is a beautiful building. And there was a lot of copper detail, I remember, as well, too, that got restored.
That's right. Yeah. And it was in January. I remember doing that, and the wind off that lake was just brutal because there was no big condo buildings in blocking that. So we were sitting there like vibrating up there. Come on. So good stories, lots of good projects across the city. Like I said, my career has been great with the Carpenters Union all the way through. So,
Dean, over to you. Don't start with jail.
No. Oh, no, I avoided that and became, like I said...
I thought you served your apprenticeship in jail.
No, not at all. No,
Can you do that?
Yeah, well, actually, when I retired... wasn't a whole lot going on. I was like a house husband. I was like in my 30s, like late 30s, and my kids were still in school. My wife was working, and I was a trainer in the military. That was my role. Was I did the job that nobody else wanted to do, teach first aid, health and safety. That was the sort of thing. So I did it, and I really liked it. So
whatever health and safety we had in the military.
Yeah, that's what it was. So
I would assume that'd be top notch.
Yeah,
the guy, the man. So I just took that knowledge that I had and
Parlayed it.
It was I was
Turned it into a business.
doing it as a business. It was very small, from my basement, and I'd go doing safety for organizations. And one day, my wife said to me, "I don't like my job. I'm quitting." And I said, "Oh my God."
Now I'm gonna have to really work.
On the outside, on the outside, I was saying one thing, but on the inside, I was in turmoil, saying, "Oh my God, like it's real now." So
Sink or swim.
put the mind together and went back to school. Went to Ryerson and took some health and safety courses, and then went full force. So
You, man.
yeah.
This would have been when? Late 90s as
That
well?
was,
Or mid-90s?
98, 99, 2000. It was sort of very fortunate. The Carpenters Union has been one of my clients for almost that long. Mike and I knew each other, but we didn't really reconnect until about
2000?
Yeah,
Oh, 2000? Yeah.
yeah. So
One of the building managers there was telling me, "How'd you know this guy, Dean Turner? He was in the military." And I'm like, "I know Dean."
yeah.
He's like, and then she gave me your number, and then we connected again from there. So, yeah.
So the fortunate thing that we do now is that we do a lot of the Chief Prevention Office certifications, like level 1, level 2, joint health and safety, confined space, working at heights, and then first aid was which what I started with. So we've been very fortunate to have a great team to put together all these programs that we are able to help construction sites, a lot of roofing companies and energy companies. If they have to go underground, to provide them with the support, the supplies, and certifications that they need. So yeah, that's what we do now.
Are we getting safer?
No, I wish to say
You're
yes.
you're not the first to say no. That's why I wanted to ask the question.
I'd like to say yes, but I'll say it this way: you can't fix stupid. Some people just do some
I'd have to agree with you, man.
dumb things out there.
Okay, so is it the older guys or is it the younger guys?
That's a good point, a good question, and I'm going to say both, Jim.
Yeah.
I'm going to say
I'd have
both.
to say both.
I'd have to say both, too, yeah.
There's some of the old guys that have been doing it the same way all the time.
Stuck in their ways?
Yes, but some of the younger guys that
Just refuse
don't-
to listen.
They don't realize that you got a family. You've got people that you go to work. You got to come home with all your bones, all your parts, and
Yeah.
got to think about some of the activities.
I would say
we
if you
do.
had to actually pick a side, I would say it would be the guys over 50.
But I'm also going to say young workers, where an older guy is just going to say, do this. And there's hazards there that these young guys don't really know the hazards, and they're
Yeah,
afraid to
Ask her.
Ask, yeah.
to say no. But they can, let them understand that they can say
I
no.
don't know. I find it, Jim, you probably see this. I just see blatant disregard. I just see guys cutting stone, not hearing, not wearing the
But
proper
see, that's
hearing.
what I'm saying. I see it
No, but
in-
young guys, old guys, I'm
Really?
seeing, and then I can still go up to them and go, guys, just do me a favor, put on some earmuffs or something, right? A mask or something. Just do me a favor.
Yeah.
Like today, if I see a guy walk on a job site with just running shoes, he's off.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
I just think that's a must. And I know that these guys are the ones that are in those pristine, clean pickup trucks that hop out in job sites and they just don't want to wear safety shoes because they're safety shoes.
yeah.
That's not a good enough reason for me.
No, I
right?
did same thing. Turn around,
Turn around.
go.
Sorry, put them on. If they're not in your truck, then turn the truck around.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not surprising to hear you say, Dean, that it's actually gotten worse. It's not getting better.
Well, I didn't know that it's getting worse. I would think it was be getting better, but
It's hard to say. I mean, I think the younger guys think they're invincible. I think the older guys are thinking that they've survived this long, so they're invincible. So everybody thinks they're a bunch of
Yeah.
superheroes, which they're not, because it could be something really simple that could actually cause something very, very damaging.
Absolutely.
And also, they don't even factor in the fact that what if you cause an accident to somebody else?
true.
Like, don't let that happen, right? So now you've taken somebody else into a situation, and then
Racing
But even
for
just
time.
when I was working on, it was called First Canadian Place at the time. Now it's BMO Tower.
BMO.
But I spent 7 years working on that. when I was in the trade, and going up to the 72nd floor, and you're having lunch. No windows, nothing. It's just a wire mesh going around the outside.
Yeah.
Like,
the regulations have changed since then.
Right? Somebody gives you a push and you're over, right?
Or slip on a banana peel and away you go.
It's crazy, right? I remember I was in the HVAC ductwork world, and our site steward we had this huge riser we were doing, and we were apprentices, so we were holding the bosun's chair, right? And we had to lower whoever's stupid enough to go down with the duct sealer, and you're high as a kite within 10 minutes because of the fumes of it.
Because you didn't have the mask on.
Didn't have anything, right?
Or nothing, yeah.
So myself and a couple other apprentices, 3 of us, holding on to this rope, and our job steward was the guy in the chair. And he's down there. And he's singing away. And then all of a sudden this safety guy comes. What do we know? We're holding this rope, right? And the guy goes, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" Well, the guy's down there, he's doing the duct work. And so I yelled down, I forget what his name was, say, Don, there's a guy, I think there's a safety inspector up here. I'll go tell him to go fuck himself. And then he looks down, he goes, "What?" So we pull him up, as high as a kite. And he's, like, I'm only, I don't know, early 20s. No, not even, because I was still apprentice. So I was still a teenager, like 19. And this guy, from what I can remember, was probably 40 or something. $10,000 fine. And our company got $10,000 fine.
Right then and there, huh?
Yeah.
That's a serious
and we're
ticket.
in union, and he was tossed off the job. Wasn't tossed, he just tossed off the job. Crazy.
That was a PCL job too, wasn't it? BMO?
I think, no.
I think it was.
Was it?
But anyways, it does, regardless.
So was it deserved?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. It's harsh, but it's deserved.
I'm standing out. This is on another job. We weren't 72 floors up in the air. It's up on a flat roof. It's snowing. I've got a round piece of duct going on the outside, and I'm trying to screw the hanger on it to hold it. And the Bosch drill that I had, I'm laying, my buddy's holding onto my legs, I'm leaning over, and we're wet.
Oh my gosh.
So you just get, okay, just take it. It will take you about 5 seconds to get the screw in. So, okay. Get it in. God. Then we do 2 each, and then, okay, your turn. If we ever got caught,
But that's how it was done.
That's how it was done. Crazy shit that you got away with.
So when did you join Mike Reynolds for Heroes?
Probably about 9 years ago.
Yeah.
About 9 years ago, yeah.
So the very beginning.
Yeah.
Right close after the first year, so I think, yeah.
Yeah, Mike heard about us through...
Chris Hollenreich, through Stanley DeWalt.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he supplied a lot of stuff to the Carpenters Union, and by that time I was actually a business rep and was on our special events committee, so I was dealing with Chris a lot of times because he would donate some tools for our apprenticeship contests, our golf tournaments and stuff like that. And he found out that I had served in the military, and he said, "You should get a hold of Jim Caruk. He's started this new foundation called Renos for Heroes." And I thought, you know what? I'd like to get involved with that because I have this skill. I know a lot of people that would love to help people. And I knew of, people that were struggling and needed some help, people that I served with as well. And I helped them when I could, but didn't have the money or the backing and that to go full on and help people that way. So since then it's been a great partnership with Jim and everybody else on the team, and then Gene joined a couple of years ago now. And
it's been about 4 years.
Yeah, I guess 4 years now.
4 years.
So,
and Mike recruited me. So
Yeah.
So how many more on the board? How many more
So we have Paul Lobb, who's
Vic West.
Vic West.
Yeah.
Steve
Marsh.
Yeah, Steve Marsh, owns an insurance company.
Business insurance broker, yeah.
Insurance broker. Then there's who else?
Scott. Is it
Ringler.
Scott? It's Ringler, yeah.
Who's like at a marketing company.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my brother,
Okay.
goes out and he's retired, but he goes out and sees all the jobs, all the projects, and gets everything.
This is the older brother.
Who's the older brother?
The one
My
that
other
you-
brother, Daryl. And,
I was waiting for that.
so he goes and he does all that whole vetting process and everything else. So,
Yeah.
'cause he loves that stuff. He's right into this stuff. So,
We have Penny.
and then Penny and
Jenny.
Does the
is Penny on the board though?
No, well, she's
Well, she's
administration.
part of the
yeah.
team.
Penny,
Yeah,
Penny,
part of the
has,
team. You have to
Penny
include the
has
team.
been with me from day one.
Yeah.
If we've got any service people listening right now and they're hesitant about contacting you, what can you guys say to kind of at least get them to contact you guys? What can we do? Because you guys have been there. You've experienced that. So how do you get that first step out there?
Probably the easiest would be just to go on our website and check out there. There's a process. There's drop boxes and things you can click on to fill out an application to so that we can get in contact with you. You can go on the Facebook, and I believe there's some contact information there as well.
Yeah.
It'd be the easiest way.
And
Just
my
fill
brother's
out the-
phone number is up right on the site, and
Yeah.
he'll be more than happy to take your call.
Absolutely.
That's right. And just fill in the application, and it's really self-explanatory. And then,
Yeah.
and from there, it goes in and then gets vetted, and then you'll get contacted.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't thinking more about that.
I know what you were asking. I mean, how do we get them to come forward?
Yeah, how do we get them to
Oh.
come forward? Like, I mean, think about when I was a teenage boy. How do you make that first move on the girl or something like that? Like, I don't know. I don't want to compare it to that, but like, how do you, if you've got something, you don't want to speak to anybody. You just don't want to speak to anybody.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I can't imagine what you guys have seen, what you experienced, or what others have. So I can't even imagine how difficult it is to actually step forward. So is there something that we can do or say that will help them come forward?
Yeah, and not feel that they're looking for a handout, because
Yeah.
I feel that they do feel that way sometimes.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't experienced anything like anything that you guys have and what they have. But all I can say is just come forward. It's not a handout at all. It's something we want to do, and we want to give back. Not out of pity, not out of anything like that. Just because, you know what?
Pure gratitude.
Yeah, that's it.
We are Canadians, man. We like to help each other.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's
Start-
all it is.
start like
it's
that.
no different than helping your neighbor or somebody,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there's some things that we've done, a few of the vets, and as Jim alluded to, that really feel grateful. And I'm just thinking of a work table, like something that's simple like that. Just making sure that the work table is down. The guy's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
He can't stand up. So lowering everything down so he's got a good level and the ability to do something that he feels some satisfaction.
Yeah. See, so I think it's the same guy, and I won't mention his name, but here's a guy that was 30, I guess, or younger-ish when he got shot in the neck, right?
Yes.
So he was paralyzed all the way down, 2 kids, and sure, he had a new house, new bungalow, but that was it. There's no garage. There was nothing like this, and so he found out about him, and he said, "What is your one wish that if we could do anything for you, what would you like?" A workshop. So he built him this garage. DeWalt showed up with some tools.
Yeah.
The workbenches,
Yeah.
The guy was in his glory.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We were able to get, I think, concrete donated to us.
Yeah.
We had cement finishers come out and do the cement finishing. We had a bunch of framers come out and start framing. And that's when Derval really got involved with us. Derval is one of my colleagues from the Carpenters Union who does a sponsored walk every year.
Phenomenal.
And raises
Unbelievable.
pretty much $100,000 every year just in
He
that
walked.
alone.
He just walks.
Walks.
What's the walk called?
It's just Derval's Walk.
Dorval's Walk, and he
Yeah.
donates.
Yeah, he raises.
Wow.
He's a
raises
fellow
the money.
countryman, man.
Really?
Yeah.
He's a pork chop?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I can say that because I am.
Oh yeah. Well, his brother served in Africa and came back with PTSD, and at that time, and you know his story, his mother sent him to Canada.
Yeah.
Derval to here, so he wouldn't have to serve until all that draft stuff stopped.
And
so,
yeah. Sorry, Mike, but that
Yeah.
But that's
why-
commonplace, yeah.
yeah,
But that's why Dorval is so into this, because he says, Canada is the most amazing place, and that's why he wants to serve
yeah.
these soldiers who have made Canada so great, so he could live here.
You got to do this with Derval one time too.
Yes,
we got to get
it's-
Derval.
Yeah,
on.
that'd be
we got to get
amazing.
Derval on. Okay,
That'd be amazing.
We'll
So he's been
arrange
doing
it.
this for how many years?
About 4 years now. This
A
I think was
lot,
the
but he's been involved.
He's been involved
he's-
before, and that's when he was on the volunteering team. And again, to finish off, he framed it up. We actually had another crew of guys did all the siding. We had another crew of guys come in and do the work. So basically, what it cost Renos for Heroes at that time was just the materials.
The material.
And we got a good deal for materials from contractors. Central Fairbanks.
Central
Lumber
Fairbanks
was
always
huge.
Everybody stepped
to
up,
the-
eh?
Oh, they all stepped
Central
up.
Fairbanks has been awesome.
Yeah, we hit it out the park. I still
Yeah.
go. I was just in his garage the other day using his thickness planer to move some stuff, and actually we kind of partnered together. Me and him, we've bought a CNC machine. We just haven't got it running yet. We're just trying
You
to figure
guys
out.
made some of those Reynolds for Heroes things, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
is that wood lathe?
Well, he has a wood lathe in there too, but he doesn't.
Oh, he's
use
got
that
all
too
the
much.
bells and
He's got
whistles,
all the
huh?
bells and whistles, and we actually had somebody when that was going on. An older lady actually donated a bunch of tools to us.
Right. She heard about it.
She heard about us and what we were doing, and her husband served, I guess, and passed and had all these tools.
Wow.
And one of them was a lathe, and that lathe is still sitting in his wood
his
shop
shop.
right now, and he has used it a couple times.
Yeah.
But he's a phenomenal guy, and they've just adopted another young girl.
Wow.
Was it 2 years ago now? Yeah. So
Jim, you got to get him on the show.
we probably
These
could get.
guys are great guys.
Yeah.
They I would say most of them still stay in contact.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Mike Tronner who, really took it to a whole another level. I mean, he was one of our first jobs in the first few years,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah,
We
I
did
think-
Jody Middick and then Mike. Mike had lost both legs, and he was living in
Petawawa still.
Petawawa.
Yeah.
So we went to his house, and 1,400 square foot deck we built. So they didn't give him a house, but they built him a house, but then the money stopped.
He's got nowhere to step onto.
No.
There was nowhere to get out the back door. So
Yeah.
if there was a fire, he's got one way to get out
Yeah.
the front door. And that was it.
Wow.
So we went up and
No privacy fence either
No
for any type of fence for the service dog he had.
service dog, yeah. So
Valor.
we did all that for Mike, and we stayed in touch with Mike. And then one day Mike says, he goes, I'd like to get into like riding a bike. And it's a special bike that he worked with his hands. So he says, I can get a used one, but I don't have a whole lot of money. Could you help us? So we had to kind of chat about it, because you have certain rules that you can do. But we threw some money at it. He got this bike the way he went. And then it went to, well, now I'm getting into rowing. Well, doesn't he go into the Invictus Games?
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wins all
2 gold medals.
I thought he got all
Wow.
3 golds.
3 golds, yeah.
Really?
In all 3 categories, he got all the golds.
Yeah.
Then he gets asked
Rowing and biking too.
Yeah.
rowing, and then he gets asked by Olympic Canada, like,
Paralympic.
was it the Paralympics?
Paralympics,
But I
yeah.
thought he got asked by the rowers, like, with all their parts,
Yeah. I'm not sure.
and then he went out and worked out with them for a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Well,
amazing.
because
Yeah, so
they didn't really have any disability program for rowing.
Rowing, right,
So
right.
that's right. He went
That's-
into
okay.
and he helped develop some of that
Yeah.
program too. And of course, he was supposed to be on his way to Japan for the Olympic Games this year, but we all know why. I'm not
Yeah.
even going to say that word anymore because I'm sick
Yeah,
of saying
sick
it.
of hearing it.
So
Next year, hopefully.
but next year again,
Yeah.
he should be going, and you know he's been a huge advocate for Renos for Heroes as
huge,
well.
yeah.
Oh my!
Well, you guys are directly related to him achieving, like it all began.
Well, yes and
There's a
no.
connection, right?
It's a small connection, yeah. But he's got a picture of, what's his name? The
Prince?
kid. Prince.
Oh,
Prince
Harry.
Harry.
Prince Harry.
Yeah, big.
Giving him the goal.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's that's the heartwarming part right there when you see some of the veterans that you help and doing so well with their continuing on with life afterwards, even though they're not looking at it as a disability anymore. They're looking at it as well, I've just got to deal with it. And just like us when we were in soldiers, we just moved on and we adapted and we overcame. Yeah. And that's embedded in us. We adapt and we overcome.
Is that one of the biggest hurdles for you guys? Is that once the service is over, that most of the service people think life is over?
Some do.
Yeah.
Some do, yeah.
So they're questioning where to go from here?
Yeah. And with the program that I'm involved with now through the Carpenters Union with Helmets to Hard Hats to assist them to get into great jobs. And this career that I've had for the last 25 years has been phenomenal. It's been a great ride. I've been one of the fortunate ones. But if I can assist everybody else to have even a part of what I have, then I feel I've done the right thing.
But that would, even we're sitting here, we know a ton of contractors. Mm-hmm. Why couldn't we help some of these soldiers that want to get into the trades?
We can, and I think a lot of will.
Doesn't have to go all through the union. It can go through us too,
absolutely.
right?
I mean, it's you just have to go register on the program. I mean, even Mike Holmes took a couple of guys. He poached them away from the Carpenters Union. Did I say that out loud? You might want to edit that out. But he did.
Mike's sharing a lot of names that we really don't want to share.
Yeah. So edit that out.
No. Everybody's good
But
here.
I mean, he went off. I mean, there was 2 veterans that I signed up through Helmets to Hard Hats, and they moved on to go work with Mike on the show for a couple of years, and they got involved with Damon, and they're doing great. I mean, they're not involved in carpentry anymore. One is actually part of Canada House now. It's a veteran organization to assist veterans, and he's actually doing a walk from Collingwood from the 7th to the 9th, I think it is, to help raise some money for Helmets to Hard Hats to assist the program because he wants to give back to the community now. So he was in a dark place for a while, but now he's resurfaced and kind of rising.
He was
like
suffering from PTSD.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
He's now rising up like a phoenix, and he's back out there helping other veterans and saying, "Hey, look, you can get through this." And that's what I think our veterans need, is seeing other successful veterans make the transition so that they can reach out to us to get that help that they need. And that's why we're here too in this board.
And then there's Scott, right?
Scott
Casey.
Oh yeah,
Scott
yeah.
Casey.
Yeah,
There's
actually,
Scott
yeah,
Casey with Military Minds, and does a
Rolling Thunder?
Rolling Barrage.
Rolling
It's
Barrage, that's it.
What's that?
It's a motorcycle run from coast to coast. It's the only one of its kind in Canada to do a coast-to-coast motorcycle run. Now, they were able to do it, but they were only do it this year in sections. So the people that like to do the cross-country part, they weren't able to do it, obviously, due to...
The
magic
word.
We're not going to say that
No,
word
we're not going to
anymore.
say it anymore.
The C
we won't
word.
say it.
C word. You can't say the C word. You got to put $5 in the swear jar.
I'm just going to add to that is that there's a lot of veterans and with the civilian life that the civilians don't really realize the value that these veterans bring to the table.
It's true.
You know, with one, they show up on time, they're disciplined. There's a lot.
Soft skills are
There's,
huge.
there's
Soft
basic
skills are
skills.
100%.
Yeah.
I would say, because when Neil came to work with me years ago, he was like 21 or whatever, and he served over in England. He was trained in England, so he was like a Green Beret or whatever you want to call him. British. What do you call him? British Marine. He was a Marine, British Marine. So when he came and I said, say, Neil, like, what do you know? He goes, look, I'll be here on time.
Yeah.
And I'll never give up. And I know how to kill people. I said, hired, man. Here, I need this money collected.
Here's your back.
Oh yeah.
That's too
But I'll tell
funny.
you, man, that like the discipline and the work ethic that he had was unbelievable.
It's there.
But
Sarah.
also getting along with other people, you know, and that's the one thing. I mean, just because you're military doesn't make you the Hulk and mean. It's we have the power, but we don't have to use it.
I find him like most people are like you guys, very low key. I had a carpenter work for me, and I had no idea that he actually served over in Croatia. His parents he was 16 or 17 here, and he says, "That's my mother country. I'm going back to fight." And he was trained and everything else as special ops, everything else. And a guy was like worked with me for years and had no idea. His brother-in-law told me one day, he says, "Hey, you know what Rob served?" I go, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, he won't say much about it." But he came to the gala one time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Twice actually. I said, "Hey, Rob, Christ, just come
Just
as our
attend,
guest.
yeah.
You served." He goes, "Yeah, but I did." I said, "Doesn't matter where you served.
No.
You served.
You served."
Yeah.
And just going back to when my brother and I were over in France, and we're in these cemeteries, and as we were pulling away, I said to the guide, I said, "Well, what cemetery is that?" He goes, "Well, that's German cemetery." I said, "Oh," I said, "Well, stop." I said, "Oh, I'd like to see that too." He goes, "Really?" I go, "What's the difference?" I said, "They're still human beings. They were fighting for what they thought was right, just like we were, right? Or not we were, but our guys were." So I said, still but it was the way it was set up. One cross. I don't know if you saw this.
No.
One cross, 4 guys. One here, one here, one here, one here. One cross was for 4.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. They had all like the 4 names on.
On the one cross.
On the cross.
Yeah, like here, 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 here.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And it's just like you see miles of these things. You just look down, just like you see the headstones, right? You just look down, it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes.
Wow.
Well, you don't want to put a damper on it.
No, it's not a damper. I mean, I find it fascinating.
It's a realization.
Yeah,
Realize.
there's a reason why we have history, right? There's a reason why this happened, and I think a lot of people need to still understand it. Like you still have to, like you guys all said, you're still sharing all this information,
Like
this history.
but do we share it? Do we share it in our
I don't think we
schools?
share it enough. I think it needs to be reminded and brought up.
I don't think it's in the schools that much anymore.
Well,
Which
most
is
of
sad.
schools, every has been in the past is that this organization called the Memory Project, and what they do is they ask vets to go to schools
Right,
and
yeah.
senior centers, and just to tell our story, just to give the youth some presence of what a military person is, and say a few words about the experiences.
Right. I mean, when I went to school, Remembrance Day was a big day.
It's still
in school. Like there
we
was a
stopped.
full assembly
Yes.
and everything, but I don't think there is that much.
It's not a national holiday the way it should be.
No, I think it's just a minute. That's all it is.
That's right.
I don't think I want to see it as a national holiday. I don't think it should be a national holiday because I would hate to see it turn into a commercialized thing like
Which
this.
it could, yeah.
Which it could, and it already started.
I think it's more of a
It-
national recognized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
I would sooner, you take your minute or 2 minutes, or if you're able to take the day off and go to the service, go to the service. But if you can't, take the 2 minutes to remind yourself of the sacrifices, or if you can get the opportunity to go to Vimy, because that's like our hallowed ground. That's kind of like the birth of our nation. That's the way we always look at it that way, right?
Yeah.
And it really is. It's spectacular to see and just be there. To
It
see,
is pretty- yeah, it is
and you
pretty
think
amazing.
and you can see these, like we're in this room, and how high is the ceiling here? It's about 10 feet.
10 feet or so,
10
or
feet.
12?
there's craters still there that are bigger than this room, this depth, that are still there, and there's trees growing out of there now.
It's crazy.
Right? So that's how you can think of it. And like Jim said, you can't walk in those areas because there's still ordnance there. There's just, it's so old. You see goats walking through here and there, but that's
Like it was only a couple of years ago, another one went off.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. 2 kids were farming.
I still find it very interesting that service people still want to help out and give when they do actually open up and engage with people. They still want to be of service.
Yeah. I think it's a sense of pride for our country.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, thank you.
and I respect that quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, because I can't say enough what you guys have gone through, what you guys have seen, and yet you still want to help. You still want to be of service. You still want to help others.
I guess
That's
one
amazing.
of it is because I can.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'll do it as much as I can, as long as I'm able. That's something that's important. You know, and
Yeah.
I guess that's from the upbringing as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you imagine if we had an entire country like that, where we would be on the world stage? How
Yeah.
much prouder, bigger,
Well, we
better.
used to be. We used to be the peacekeepers, right?
Yeah, we would be the people that would come
Roles have changed over the years in certain ways now, where peacekeeping has worked, but sometimes is not as effective as it should be, and now you have more,
Peacemaking.
peacemaking in smaller degrees and more
Dosages.
precise, because I think our Canadian Armed Forces and our American Forces, all of them have rehoned everything down to quite the skill level. I mean, when you see when we were in, it was JTFs just starting off. Those guys were just amazing, the kind of stuff that they could do. And now it's CANSOF, Canadian Special Forces Operations Groups, that they go out and they work in smaller groups and not just huge battalions of people like we used to do. And they can do just as much damage as an entire battalion, really.
How is Canada still seen on the global side?
They're always wanted for UN missions all the time,
All the
even to
time,
this
right?
day. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. They want us there because they know we get the job done. I mean, when you look at the numbers of the amount of Canadians that we had on Vimy Ridge compared to everybody else that went up, we took it, right?
That's where the saying stormtroopers came from. Right?
It was. Oh yeah,
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And Jim is known as the Obi-Wan of construction, all right? I just want to let you guys know that.
What was the other one you said? The Godfather?
The Godfather of construction and Obi-Wan.
Godfather
Yes.
of construction.
The Obi-Wan's a new one in the last few weeks.
We're still trying to figure out who Darth Vader is. Where do you see Reynolds for Heroes going? Like, where do you guys want it to go?
Well, here's
Start, Jim.
my vision before I can't walk or do anything anymore. I would love to be able to sit down with our premier, Dougie, and
We can make that happen. You know that, right?
I'd like to make that happen.
We can make that happen.
And with our mayor, John Tory, because
What would you say to these
from my
guys?
understanding, and right across Canada, there's about 4,500 homeless vets on the streets,
At least.
and
If not
At
more.
least, right?
Yeah, if not more.
with all the shitty buildings we have downtown that we're not going to do anything with, I'm sure we could raise enough money. We definitely have the building force behind us, and let's just start taking some of these buildings, getting them ready, and get these guys off the street and get the help that they need. That would be my, whatever you call it. That's
Dream
my
come
vision.
true.
And that would be, what's that?
Dream come true.
That would be my dream control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Then
a
they,
good
then
dream.
they can lay me down to sleep, and I'd be good.
You tap out after that?
I'd tap out. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. But that's what I would love to do.
That's a good one.
Still trying to do it. And I mean,
That was one of the originals? That was one of the original?
that was always my, like I said, I had a big vision, but then I realized it wasn't the big vision that anybody wanted. But now that, we've got this building force behind us, and, maybe it's probably a money issue, but I think if we, everybody pulled their heads together, we could raise enough money get these guys off the street.
Help each
and
other
just,
out.
And you know what? And just take it from city to city to city.
Yeah, because we're not the only ones that has the situation, right?
No.
No,
we're
all
not.
the countries, all the Commonwealth, everybody. I'm sure even
Yeah.
whatever other side.
I think somebody did it out in Alberta.
Did they?
Did a little
With
little,
the
the little
houses.
homes, the little homes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it worked? It was successful?
I'm not sure.
This is just recent, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
like in the
So we
last
don't
year.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They turn sea containers into homes.
Yeah.
Basically, we have a contact for that, Jim. I remember I told you there was a guy that wanted to help us with that.
Right.
And there's another group of people that want to help us too through Carrie Lynn and that Silver Cross mother. What's her name? Nancy Sue.
Oh, okay.
She's already talked to the premier already and to see if we can get some property to do that. So we need to talk to Nancy Sue. I'll talk to her next
Okay.
week. I'll
All
talk
right.
to her after Remembrance Day. And we can
I
maybe-
mean, but not even like the sea cans. Like there's buildings downtown that
There is.
aren't doing anything,
yeah.
right? And there's probably some buildings that the city owns that aren't doing anything.
It's just a matter of getting the people that can say yes to say yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's some more logistics behind that too, Jim,
Obviously,
right? So
yeah.
but we won't get into that on the show
Yeah.
tonight
Yeah.
because that'll
Yeah.
be another.
That'll
80
be a
minutes.
different kind of segue, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden,
Yeah.
that'll just 15 hours later, we're still here talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that would be great. That'd be great if we could do that.
I think there'd be a lot of support for that. I don't know why
Oh, I
there
think
wouldn't
so.
be a lot of support, but
I think so.
yeah.
That would be huge.
I think it's
support.
important. I think they should. And I think in the construction industry that you guys know and everybody else knows that there is a brotherhood here. We all get
Yeah.
along. We
Yeah.
all work and help each other.
Yeah.
Why not help these guys as well?
100%.
They're part of it.
Yeah.
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 And if we, and again, if we can get these guys in the trades working,
Yeah.
like I said, half the battle's already won.
Right.
They're going to show up.
They will.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of them don't even realize the soft skills that they have. And that's what part of that program with the Helmets to Heart it does. It shows them and helps them develop their resumes and to interview properly and stuff like that so that they can get into the workforce after.
Big
afterwards.
skills. That's good for you.
Yeah.
I think construction nowadays is past the point because I'm sure, Jim, when you got into it, it was more of that fallback job, and you guys probably had the same kind of stigma attached to it, where it was that just go be a tradesperson, that'd be it. But I think now it's actually, I legitimately call it a career.
It's totally a career.
100%.
Since day one, I've called it a career. It's not a fallback, it's a career. So if you can get a military or service person come in, they have the mindset already to absorb that knowledge and actually excel at it.
Yep.
Well,
Right.
and the hand skills. I mean,
Yeah.
let's face it, right? Your guns this, tooling that, God knows what else you're doing. And then
Different set of tools.
different set of tools.
Different set of tools.
That's all it is, right?
Traded a hard hat, a helmet in for a hard hat.
You're good, Mike. I tell you, you're good. He's throwing that plug.
And what do
in.
they call that, Mike? Helmets to hard hats.
Helmets to hard hats.
So how many other? So you got how many? You got 3 of them. No, so you're part of the board with Reynolds for Heroes.
Yeah.
You're also part of the Carpenters Union.
Yeah.
You're also part of
Helmets to Hard Hats,
Helmets to
yeah.
Hard Hats, and then you've got the safety.
And I'm also part of one that's called Treble Victor. And what we do, these are veterans that now have transitioned out of the military, and we help other veterans that are trying to get jobs. And some of these guys have done very well. It was started, I guess, about 10 years ago by a fellow named Mark Walden and Don Ludlow and a few other guys. They're RCR, Royal Canadian Regiment officers with in my battalion. Actually, I served with Mark, who, rest his soul, he passed away a few years ago. But he had a vision of having an organization that helps veterans that are transitioning into the workforce and educating civilians to understand a little bit more about what vets can offer to the workforce as well. And some of them have done very well as executives into the banks, into constructions, PCL. There's a number of organizations that they help, that they are now part of the infrastructure. So and I sit on that board as well.
Well, good for you.
Very nice.
It's great.
Yeah.
Have you guys had a chance to help a woman?
What do you mean?
a female service person?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I wasn't sure. So is there somebody out of that group?
I'm meeting up with a new one through the program next week.
Okay, great.
In Hamilton. Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
It's good. It's all good.
I still shake my head. You have the opportunity to help a woman. What do you mean? We're soldiers.
No. In through the program.
No,
just
but a
through the program.
I got it afterwards, but
Through Reynolds for Heroes?
Yes.
Like a woman.
That's what I meant. No, not in general. You guys doesn't matter. Like tall, short, black, white, yellow, whatever, female, male, doesn't matter. You guys help. That's what I mean about the service. But through Reynolds for Heroes, I don't know. Have you guys had an opportunity to assist a woman?
Your friend.
Yes, we did.
PTSD.
There was one out in
it's all good.
out in the West Coast, East Coast. Sorry, it was Kate.
Yes.
Kate, she actually was doing a walk right across the country in support of veterans with PTSD.
Okay.
And when she got home, her roof had leaked and had caused a lot of damage within the house. So she reached out to us. I reached out to the Atlantic Council out there and the Carpenters Union, and they just went in and fixed it. They didn't even get any money from Reynolds for Heroes. They just went and did it. And
Good
then
for them.
when time she came home, it was around Christmas time. They put her Christmas tree up. They fixed everything.
Oh,
and it's
wow.
like, are you kidding me? It was awesome, right?
That's brilliant.
So
That's heartwarming.
I'm trying to think of who the other one. You're absolutely right. There was a second one. I can't think of it right off the top of my head.
I met her.
But there's an application
she's
that's
been
in there.
out
There's
to
an
help.
application in now.
She's been out to help a few times, worked the booth.
Are
Can't
women
think.
a lot easier to come forward for the assistance, or men? Or are they the same?
I think it's about the
Kinda
same.
About the
Yeah,
same?
it's
Kind of the
Yeah,
same.
the mentality's the same. You know, you're trained that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, me personally, I think females are a lot tougher than men. I think a lot of men, they may think that they're tougher, but I think female are tougher than men, most. I don't know if I want to pick a fight here or anything.
No,
like that.
no.
I would say, and again, I'm not in the military, but just what I know of women, they can withstand a lot more pain than
That's
we can.
where I was headed
Yeah,
with it.
yeah.
Like, we are wimps to some of the pain that women can handle. I don't know. And that's why we look at our moms or our sisters and like they are tough.
Yeah.
They are tough people.
Yeah.
Right. So I just
Absolutely.
figured, and then you put them in the service, you guys go through the same training, they become tough people. Right. So then they come back and they need that help. So are they the same kind of mindset? I don't want this help. I don't want to. No. But then you got to come forward and I want some help. I want to get some help. So it's nice to hear a story where they came in and fixed it and put up the Christmas and got it all going.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I can imagine her face seeing this and she's really, really pleased. And all of a sudden her life is turning and it's becoming better.
Yeah.
And it's those little things. And we all appreciate those little things. So if we can do something or they can come forward and ask just for that little bit of help, like a deck, like you said, Jim, like a little thing. It doesn't have to be a full-scale rental. It could be something simple.
It's simple.
You know?
So I got a question. So do you think, and I think I know what the answer is, the wife of a military guy or the husband of a military woman was injured and they come home, does your significant other, or can they suffer from PTSD with just going through with
The withdrawal, the
Right.
absence, the.
like I remember one guy
emotion.
we
There's a lot
did
of
some work
things.
for out in Edmonton.
Oh, right.
Remember him?
Yeah.
And I remember him saying,
I'll just say my hands up right now. Yes, they
Right.
do feel.
I would say yes,
they will.
too.
well,
Yeah,
he actually
absolutely.
said his whole family.
Like, I can see that.
He said,
100%.
I left with all my limbs. I came back with no legs. He goes, my daughters didn't know what.
How do
Like,
you
It's
know?
heartbreaking just
Yeah.
thinking about it. But yeah,
So they would have to,
it's PTSD as well.
as well,
Okay,
right?
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
Just a different, came from a different
it's-
direction, right?
you think of the family unit that you have.
That's
we all
exactly
suffer
it.
the same. If one of us is suffering, we all
We all
suffer.
suffer.
We all suffer. I mean, look at the kitchen that we did for Wayne.
Yeah.
How much that helped his family. It was huge. Here was a man that was going through really bad PTSD as well. And we redid his kitchen for him, and he said, you guys just don't understand how much this changed our life.
Yeah. He
Just that
couldn't do a cup of coffee for himself.
Right.
Without
Really?
losing it.
Yeah,
Wow.
like he would just lose his mind. That's not the worst case of guys,
No.
too, right? So when you think of the whole, one person in your family is ill, we're all ill, right? And that's kind of the way I think I look at it myself too, Dean, right? And maybe you do too. And when somebody in our family is somebody we've served with and we see their suffering, we want to help them,
Yeah.
right? We weren't able to help a lot of other people in the past. I mean, we both know people that were homeless and died on the streets. We know other people that have died in other circumstances not under their own control. But there's nothing we can do to help them, but we can help their families too, because they're suffering still, right? So
So how many do you think actually, once they get back and they haven't, I mean, it's obvious it's mental health issues, PTSD, like how many have taken their own lives because they just
the number is past what we've lost in Afghanistan now.
Choose-
Past it.
choose is,
Well
right.
past it.
yeah, they can't deal with their own.
Yep. It's well past
It's hard. It's heartbreaking
Oh,
just to think.
and we
of the
don't
number
know.
of
We
people-
don't ever
And it-
hear.
Because they disappear, right? So
Yeah.
they.
Well,
Some of the strongest guys I know.
it
you know.
breaks our entire heart when we hear of a fellow person we've served with has taken their life. 100%. And
Just
if I
can't
can,
deal
if I
with
can
it.
prevent that in any way
Absolutely.
by helping renovate their house or helping them get a job or just being there to say, "Hey, I'm here,"
Yeah.
then that's what I'll do. And I know Dean will. And I know Jim will do
Absolutely.
it, and so will Daryl. And you too, Manny. I know you would too.
No, it's just,
Mike, you know
it's
what?
how we
I'm-
are.
Maybe, you know, if you don't want to talk about this, but you did help somebody
Yeah.
that was on the verge of,
Yeah.
and you got there and saved their life.
Yeah. Yeah, or prevented it.
Prevented it.
I wouldn't say I would save them. I prevented them. That person went on a couple other times, but hasn't successfully continued on. She's still with us today.
Yeah.
And I hope she's in a better place now. It's actually a guy that I was in the Carpenters Union with. His wife served, and he was a police officer in New Brunswick for a while. We were partners on a job site, and that's how we got introduced. And she called me up one afternoon saying, look after my husband. And I'm like, I kept her on the phone as long as I could. I had my wife call the ambulance so that they can get to the house as quick as they could. I kept her talking and talking. And when they reach out like that, I don't think they really want to continue. They realize they've made a mistake and they're reaching out for help at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough.
Do you guys know who started the Highway for Heroes program? That whole thing. How did that get started? I don't know. I didn't research this, so I don't know.
No.
So I've gone on a few of the rides.
Okay.
Oh, do you mean the Highway Hero ride, the ride, or why they named all the highways?
No, why they named it, why they did the whole ceremony, because there was a lot of Americans that didn't even realize that we did that as a nation. We did that when we had a fallen soldier.
Because
I'm just trying to
it's-
remember back
Well-
in the day when guys were being brought back
Yes.
to Trenton.
to Trenton,
Yes.
and then they had to come
On the highway.
on the highway,
Yes.
and that's,
That's-
where people were going on the
Yeah.
bridges.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And starting to.
And I'm just wondering who had the foresight to do that, because
Yeah.
that actually made the global stage. Like
Oh,
that,
huge.
Canada was recognized for
Brother,
that.
I told you, I went and did a ride with those guys.
Yeah, the Highway Hero ride.
The Highway Hero ride. And there was probably, I don't know, 2,500 bikes.
Wow.
It's huge.
And he, you know, the guy that organized it goes, Jim, you come up at the front with us, right? So I was like, you know, fourth or fifth bike. I'll tell you, man, when we were riding, and it was just us riding. Like there was, you know, it was just for the Highway Heroes to raise awareness and money. They were on the bridges with the flags. There was military on the bridges saluting us.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I was like I had tears in my eyes, and what a feeling. Like it was
The nation that you were
surreal.
in. Yeah.
And you know, like fire trucks, people lined. They knew we were coming, and like we were the military. Like it's what we're doing.
Just in support.
Just in
support.
support.
That's all it was.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Are you looking it up there, Dean?
Yeah, I am.
The beauty of technology.
Yeah. Google that.
He doesn't know how to get on Instagram, but hey, he's got.
No, because I that's very respectful. Whoever started that, how it got started, and everything like that. I think that was important that Canada as a nation decided to do that, and then everybody.
Yeah, the U.S. Had no idea we did it, and then they
got wind of it, and then they were like, "Wow, you guys do that?"
Yeah.
Every time there's a fallen soldier, yeah, and that's a big thing. But it's still a shame. It goes back to the people that are homeless and they disappear and they fall through the cracks, and everybody's trying to do something for them. So I do want to take a minute of silence for these individuals, if we can.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you for the service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this has been a really interesting talk, Jim. I'm glad that you brought this up. I've always wanted to do this. I want to get more information about this. I want to meet more individuals like you guys. I don't have a negative. I have nothing but positive and respect for anybody in military service. I think Canada could do better. Like, I'm talking about the political side of things. They can do better. They should do better. And I think, honestly, Jim, I'll help you. Let's start knocking on Mr. Ford's door and Mr. Tory's door, and let's start knocking on. I got no problem bringing a sledgehammer and start knocking on those doors, right? You know, then I could have my own jail story.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But
avoid jail. Go join the army.
there we
Young
go.
guys. Yeah.
So we do have one last segment, which I actually forgot to do with Steve. I've got this little questionnaire thing that we just ask at the end of the show. Jim's been through this. I don't know if you guys got wind of this, but it's it's 12 questions that are kind of construction related, and I'll ask both you guys, and you can just chime in. What would your favorite construction word be?
Get her done.
I'd agree with that one.
What is your least favorite construction word?
There's no overtime today. You just got to get her done.
Any thoughts?
For me,
Yeah.
the least construction, I can't.
Yeah, I hate that too. It's
What turns you on, guys, in construction?
concrete.
Concrete? Concrete. What, just pouring it, smelling it?
No, it's actually the smell of nice wood. Yeah,
Nice
finished.
woody.
Yeah. What?
You left it open, man.
No, you thought like that, Jim. That wasn't you. That was you. Bro. That's on you.
I would say that's you, Jim. What turns you off, guys, in construction?
Too much overtime.
Too much overtime?
A mess. Really.
Yeah.
Messy
Like,
sites.
disorganized mess.
What is your favorite curse word? It could be on its own or in a sentence. And you don't have to blurt it out, but
My favorite?
favorite.
The standard one,
The go-to?
the go-to.
Yeah.
I think it's
The
everybody.
go-to?
Yeah.
What construction sound or noise do you love?
Oh, the whine of a skill saw, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
Go with that.
Cutting that wood.
What construction sound or noise do you hate?
Jackhammer.
Jackhammer, huh?
Yeah. Does that mean somebody made a mistake and you got to take it out?
Oh, cool, Mike.
You know what my answer for that one is? Silence.
Oh,
Because then nothing is going on.
oh
Well
yeah,
done,
yeah,
Jim.
That's
Yeah, I like that.
What profession other than your own would you guys like to attempt? But I mean, you've got 2 professions now behind you, right? And more?
I'm, I think I'd really like to be a travel agent.
Where did that come from?
I don't know, Jim. I was just thinking about the beach, man. I was thinking about the beach. I'll
And
do
all
these
those free trips.
well.
a cruise.
Good thing you have a good job now because as a travel agent, you wouldn't
be
too
doing
well
all
right
that well right now.
That's right, yeah.
What profession would you not like to do?
I'd say a mortician.
A mortician.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a mortician.
Yeah, that's not a fun job.
I wouldn't want to be a waiter. Yeah.
A waiter.
Yeah.
What is your favorite vehicle? Could be anything.
My Dodge Ram.
Dodge Ram, and then you got a bike?
Yeah.
What bike?
motorcycle. I've got a Honda.
Oh, yeah?
He just got it.
A big boy?
So
Not
we'll,
yet,
we'll
not yet.
forgive him right now.
Yeah. Thanks, Jim.
Do you ride, Manny?
I ride Italian, though. I'm not the Harley
Got
boy.
the Ducati.
I got a Ducati Monster, an
Oh,
older one,
nice,
99
nice.
one.
I
right?
had a Ninja in Germany.
Oh, really?
ZX7, yeah. Oh, it was awesome.
Which vehicle you guys hate?
Ambulance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the last one.
I do hate to see the orange, like
Yeah.
the orange ambulance, because you know that's
Something's
Not
up.
good.
Yeah.
That's not good.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Wrong place, son.
Oh, that's what you don't want him to hear you say.
No, well, if you go there, Mike, it's not going to be fun.
You want to go downstairs? Oh,
You want to go down?
He wants to go to the party. He wants to go to the party. Any thoughts,
You're
Mike?
crazy, man. It's crazy.
I don't know. No, I haven't really given that much thought.
Not there yet.
No.
Thank you very much, guys. Honestly, great meeting you guys. Great
Pleasure.
talking to
My
you guys.
pleasure.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much for
Manny.
sharing. And Jim, thanks so much for setting this up.
Oh, no problem.
Anybody out there?
Thank you.
Tradespeople, contractors that want to help out, give some time. www.reynoldsforheroes.org. On IG, it's Reynolds for Heroes, and then also Dean, you've got www.fast-rescue.com, and you also still offer services to help people for safety, health, and
Absolutely. This is what I do. So feel
Yeah.
free to give a call out, reach out to me, and
we can never have too much safety on the site, right?
Will you
And-
come to the site too? With your
Well, that's
guys?
what we do. Yeah, actually, we have
On
some
site?
consultants that do go on site
Perfect.
to do training when you need, especially small jobs. We can help.
So please go on the website and check it out and sign up and then make the requests. And then Mike, you're with Helmet to Hardhats.ca, also part of the Carpenters Union, also part of Reynolds for Heroes.
Mostly part.
Mostly part of, primarily, then secondary, then third, and so on and so on.
Don't let my boss hear you say that.
Well, I'll give
No, but I meant that
I'll
with
give.
helmets to hard hats.
Yeah.
You're more of a Renos for
Yeah.
heroes.
No, I just assist the people going through the program. That's for sure.
Well, Mike he's very instrumental in the Reynolds for Heroes. I mean,
Huge. Yeah.
Like
Mike,
give him like tons of kudos, keeping it all together, keeping me informed as to what's going on, and really being a backbone of the organization. So, Mike,
yeah.
thank you.
I'd say, you know what, between my brother and Mike, I don't do
You're just a pretty face.
I came up with the idea.
I was going to ask you because I know that the last gala just made it before the C word.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just made
Yeah.
it, but what's the plan for next year?
I don't know. We got to think of something we're going to have to do.
Are you going to do a virtual one? Because I don't think these virtual things are working for any of these trades.
I don't know. I don't know. We were just talking about, my girlfriend and I are actually talking about, instead of definitely not having a gala, but we could still have a gala night for each couple. We're thinking of
interesting.
somehow like whatever the date would have been in February, we're gonna try to come up with some kind of a gift idea with maybe a charcuterie board, nice bottle of champagne, and instead of paying $250 for coming to the gala for a dinner and all that, how about paying $250 for this? You got a nice bottle of champagne and a bunch of cheese and meats, and you just have your little gala at home.
I like that.
With your wife.
I do like that.
Celebrating
Yeah.
Reynolds for Heroes.
Yeah.
That could work.
Yeah.
Something like that, along with whatever else we can do.
Yeah. I do like that. So that's February-ish.
So we usually have it usually mid-February. We had it late last year, but we needed that because of the venue. We went from, what did we have the year before? We had just over 500. Just over 500, and then we hit 7.
We hit over 700. We oversold.
And then who came? That came from the military again? I keep forgetting.
We had the Brigade RSM, Stu Hartnell.
Yes,
was our guest and speaker.
Fantastic.
And 2 years ago we had
the Chief of Defense Staff, Mr. Vance, attend.
General Vance,
who we both served with as well when he was a young captain and not a general. He was my platoon commander.
So he's like the commander, right?
Yeah, he's actually retiring this year.
Yeah.
Chief of Defense Staff. Yeah.
And he was brilliant. He sat it, and I get to sit with all these guys, and I never know. Well, I just don't know they come out with all these acronyms and they're doing this and that. And I said to my brother, why don't you sit here? You know all that shit. But no, you're the started it, so you have to sit with them.
Well, you're the face. You have to be there.
So, but the guy him and his wife were brilliant. And when he got up and spoke, unbelievable speaker.
Yeah.
And he even took a shot at the government.
Yeah.
About what they're not doing for it.
He's not afraid.
Good for him.
Yeah. And one thing I'll always remember that his wife said, Joe was sitting there with me, and she goes, I go to a lot of these things. She goes, this is the first one that I've ever seen everyone so, like, when the speakers so heartfelt, and everybody in this room is all together. And like she goes, it was so heartfelt listening to the whole thing, listening to everybody, seeing how everybody interacts. She goes, I will never forget this. And I thought, you know what, wow. I said, I told my brother that. I go, Harp. I said, geez, think this is something, right? To hear that, right? Because we don't hear anything.
No.
I mean, we'll go back to, remember that dinner we went to years and years ago, Fort York?
Oh, jeez.
Were you there? No. It was Daryl and I went.
Yeah.
So there's all these guys. They're all dressed up in their red tunics, and they got all this stuff going on, right? And most of them were with TPL. And we were just fairly new, right? And so we got asked to go to the dinner. And the guys are all talking. Then we finished dinner, and everything else kind of all just standing around having a drink. This guy comes up, and I forget his name, big colonel or something. And he works for Scotiabank. You will know who he is.
That was the Red Hackle. That wasn't the Red Hackle dinner.
No,
it was the Robbie Burns dinner, and that was
yes,
Mr. Blake,
right,
of AGF.
Yeah. My brother and I are standing with a drink, and this dude comes up, and I call him a dude, so it's probably a more formal name for him. But he goes, hey, so who are you guys with? And we go, oh, we're Renos for Heroes. And we don't think anybody would even know who we are, right? Because we're fairly new. And he goes, Renos for Heroes? He says, I heard about you guys. He goes, you really get shit done. And I looked at it, I said, hey, I like that. So on the back of our hats now, so we get shit done.
Yeah, it's been on our.
That's where it came from.
Yeah, it was Mr. Blake at the Robbie Burns dinner. It was at the 48th Highlanders Sergeants and
that's where I had my first haggis.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your last, Jim?
In my last.
Not a haggis fan?
No, man.
No.
I'll eat that all day long.
Some seasoning on it. It's all right.
Jeez.
So you guys get shit done, huh?
Apparently.
That's good. See,
Yeah, you got to come. You know what? The next route, you got to come out and see.
of course, I want to come out.
Mike rounds up his troops and brings all these carpenters out, and yeah. So Dorval is 183.
No.
Not him.
No.
Look.
Oh, he's 1030 with the Carpenters Union.
1030.
Yeah.
But more in the subdivision stuff, right? Is that what
Residential sector.
Residential sector.
Or residential sector, yeah. He was with La Una at one time, yes.
He was.
Yeah, and
But what is he? Has he moved up now? What is he like?
He's one of our coordinators for 1030, yes.
Okay. Got all these guys.
There's lots of guys. Because you guys
What's
get...
labor's union is 183.
506 La Una, yeah. 506, 183 is their residential sector, yeah.
Right. And what's drywall? Same?
No.
Where do the numbers come from?
It's the number of the locals or how old the local is. So the lower the number, the older the union. So we're local 27.
Oh, wow.
We're one of the original 6 charters. Local 18 is 1 day ahead of us, or 2 days ahead of signing a charter for the Carpenters Unions. And then number 1 is in Chicago, and I don't know the ones in between. It doesn't go...
So local is for North America.
Yeah.
When you say number 1 is in Chicago.
Chicago. That was where it was incepted there. Mr. P.J. McGuire, a founding father for the Carpenters Union over 140 years ago.
Wow.
And here in Toronto is 27?
Yeah. And Hamilton is local 18. Well, we have 5 or 6 other locals, or no, 7 or 8 locals within the province of Ontario.
I don't know how high have we gotten? Like, what are we? Not getting into 4 digits, are we?
Yeah.
We're 4 digits, really?
Yeah.
That young?
Yeah.
Wow.
You going to start one, Jim?
I was local 30.
Oh, so are you allowed to start one, or no? You can't start
I don't
one.
know.
Is there
What would
rules?
mine be? Local 1?
I don't know.
What would I even go?
I
What
don't
would
know.
be?
I don't know.
Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Local Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
All right. On that note, thank you very much, guys.
All
Honestly, really appreciate it meeting you
Great.
guys and talking and everything. And thank you again, Jim, for this.
Thanks.
And
Thank you.
we'll see everybody on the next episode. We'll see what we're talking. I think at that point we'll talk to Dan, or we'll get Darren, or we'll get somebody.
I got damn next week.
Perfect. We'll talk to Dan and we'll get some more. Oh, and I totally forgot. I mean, I got to do a shout out to Jim Caruk. Follow him. Have you been getting new followers?
I don't know. I got 827.
Yeah, there you go. So you're gonna crack 1,000 soon. So definitely follow Jim at Jim Caruk.
Did you follow me, Jim?
I did.
I follow Dean, right? And then also follow his construction with Carrick Hall. So www Carrick Hall Construction on IG as well too.
Right on.
Thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much,
you.
man.
Thank you,
Take
man.
care.
Thanks.